Hello, everyone. Harry offends greatly this royal by doing this. What is the problem? How crazy must he be? He dares to challenge the king, his own father. Of course, a blood relationship is no excuse to forgive for betrayal. Harry is paying the ultimate price. Great jubilation over here in the United Kingdom. Totally right now, all thanks to the large tabloid headline showcasing the fact that Prince Harry, of course, is no longer speaking to his father, His Majesty the King. This major title has caused a lot of speculation and excitement. Worse than that, as we have mentioned to you here on the show, letters are not answered, and fundamentally, you are aware that the king himself is very anxious about any correspondence or indeed any formal conversation. To a large extent, Harry and Meghan have been the ones responsible for all of this. And when you stop and think about it, it is not only ridiculous, but also really dumb, because at this point, you have completely ruined all possibility of any kind of mediator, conversation, or other such activity, all because you are aware that Meghan Markle is listening in on the background. You see, Charles was really extremely concerned about this way back when, if you remember correctly, Meghan was going to dial in from Canada when Harry wanted to leave and, formulated Megxit as it was. Do you remember that? And of course, Her Majesty the Queen was supposed to be made accessible to have that chat with Meghan and Harry while she was in another country. Of course, those conversations were intended to take place while she was away, within a very short amount of time. That was turned down, and they were unaware of what could have been recorded or why it could have been used. On the other hand, Meghan has never totally and completely forgiven the royal family for that particular offense. It is not fair that she should have to put herself out there and travel all the way from Canada just to have a conversation with our head of state, who you should understand to be our sovereign. Amazing when you give it some thought. The fact that Harry is gradually coming to terms with the absurdity of what he has developed himself is another thing that fascinates me about this situation. And this is all due to the fact that, when you think about it, it was a straightforward idea that he had, and he practically restated it in a documentary that was not too long ago aired in the United Kingdom. One that has witnessed, a tempest ignite, as we are all too familiar with His Majesty the King once more. This was all due, once again, to the idiocy, and there is no other way to describe it, on the part of the once well-known individual known as Prince Harry. Of course, there are still a lot of fireworks going on inside the British monarchy. His close relationship with our late and lovely monarch, Queen Elizabeth II, is something that he emphasizes on multiple occasions, and you can rest assured that he will continue to do so. You may recall, of course, that he traveled to London and asserted that he was there to ensure that she was surrounded by the appropriate individuals throughout her time there. While this was going on, of course, she was being abandoned to return to California, which is located hundreds of miles away. If the appropriate people were supposed to be him, then why wasn't he staying to protect her by staying with her? On the other hand, Harry is as foolish as that. Now, what has really gotten His Majesty the King, and, of course, His Royal Highness the Prince of Wales, Prince William, extremely angry, is the fact that he decided to, irritate everybody by effectively bringing in our late king once again. This is what has really made them very angry. To put it another way, the person doing the interview, Becca Barry, basically asked, "What do you think, Her Majesty the Queen would think about all of this?" That is an entirely typical inquiry. Not only that, but he basically stated that she would have pushed him to continue on with his life. In the end, she would have advised you to go all the way to the top of the organization. Everyone, including Prince Harry, was aware of the fact that that was not the kind of thing that the late Queen would have spoken. This is something that everyone knew and everyone knows. If it were up to her, she would have reprimanded him for his stupidity, put an end to the situation, and moved on. On the other hand, it is quite obvious that he is unable to admit his own foolishness. As I mentioned earlier, this specific annoyance, this particular rage, can be traced back to one item and one thing only from the beginning. Due to the fact that she was unable to attend that particular meeting, Meghan was unable to move forward. It was incomprehensible to her why she was not permitted to take part in the activity. That is clear to you. Of course, it is much more unfortunate that it occurred on the deathbed of our late monarch when she was denied permission to travel with Prince Harry aboard the jet, so causing every single person to be delayed along the route. With a capital T, this woman is making a lot of trouble. The reason that Harry had, of course, it is much more unfortunate that it occurred on the deathbed of our late monarch when she was denied permission to travel with Prince Harry aboard the jet, so causing every single person to be delayed along the route. With a capital T, this woman is making a lot of trouble. The reason that Harry had to bring that up physically in print in television land was, of course, so that she could see that he was making an effort to defend her. He wanted her to understand that the late monarch plainly adored Meghan, thought she was fantastic, and that she would want him to continue this relationship. I am not receiving that message from the inner court here in the United Kingdom. I am receiving a different message. Nevertheless, more significantly for Harry, he believes it, even if he is maybe mistaken. He has, in fact, thrown another nail in the coffin of any possibility of open talks and, one could say, minimal reconciliation. This is what has actually transpired. As I say quite frequently on this podcast, the question is, how stupid can you possibly get? Certainly, Harry's wife may be trouble, but Harry has allowed all this to happen. They are both as bad as each other. Do you ever think that he is worse, as it's his family they trash, and was his grandmother that they disrespected? They are really horrible people. Since this bully comes into the picture, the royal family hasn't had any rest, but she is pure evil. I have no respect but only disgust for Meghan Markle. But stop putting the blame all on her. Harry had a choice in all of this and chose his own path. His treatment of Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip during the last few months of their lives makes me sick to my soul. The royal family, in my opinion, has made the right decision in writing Harry and his family off. If she can do this to his family, he knows how bad it will be for him if they split. She probably has a folder and phone footage of grievances against him popcorn time. And it must be a huge folder. She has so many grievances. Dreadful woman. We all knew she was in trouble. Anne Widdecombe said in a quick interview, "There's trouble ahead." So right. Now that is an understatement, as she and he are a living, global nightmare with two very sick close relatives. Their behavior is beyond description. If the former royal now bag carrier were 14 and his dad wasn't speaking to him, that would be something to talk about. But he's a 40-year-old spoilt man-child, so who's bothered? I hope we never see him in royal circles ever again. It's disgraceful how Harry speaks on behalf of the dead. The late Queen would never have approved of his ongoing lawsuits. He knows this very well, yet still exploits her memory. He does this endlessly, with his late mother as well. Moreover, how dare Harry say the Queen was supportive of his court drama? Harry grew up with the same set of rules as the rest of the royals. The Queen had done very well sticking to "don't complain" and "don't explain." Harry is using the Queen's name while she is not here to defend herself. How disrespectful and disgusting of Harry after everything she did for this man-child. Anyway, it's good that King Charles will not speak to nasty Harry. I don't think that if King Charles wanted to be a good man, he shouldn't allow his son to jeopardize his health. Let's hope he keeps it like that. Telling about this, Harry tried to press the king. He tried to use twice public pressure in order to get what he demanded. Firstly, taxpayer-paid security, and secondly, to force him to take his phone calls and reply to his messages. His PR team really works hard, but not always very cleverly. In fact, Harry has not shown any remorse for all the cruel things he's said and done. He just wants to see his father so that he can convince his father to allow him to be half in, half out, and probably more money. Harry isn't going to change. The royal family should change by telling Parliament to remove all Harry and Meghan's titles pronto. The film clips of the Jane Pauley interview show Rachel scowling at Harry. The king should encourage Parliament to remove his titles. When they get divorced, she will still be able to call herself the Duchess of Sussex. So two proven bullies are talking to people about online bullying. This new world we live is simply amazing. Maybe, in my opinion, the media that keeps giving these two lying hypocrites a platform in which to speak and spew their nonsense are much to blame for their continued celebrity. It's just crazy. She is a fool. They will never make it again. They have been so toxic that no one wants nor will forgive these two. It's true that there is no cure for narcissism, sociopathy, or psychopaths. The medical community has tried everything from all types of medications to years-long psychiatric treatment. Nothing has worked. In my opinion, people with these mental illnesses are just the evil ones and troublemakers in society. Some time in a straitjacket and a bland diet comes to mind as a possible course of treatment for those two. Might knock some of the self-entitled cockiness out of them. Spoiled brats ultimately see sense when they find out their way of doing things doesn't work anymore. Absolutely, I am grateful that you saw my video. Do not overlook the importance of showing your support for us by liking, sharing, and subscribing to the channel. Each and every day, we make it a point to provide the audience with the most engaging and appealing content possible. We ask that you continue to support us for a very long time. Please leave a comment below if you have any thoughts or comments. I always value and respect all of your feelings. Goodbye, and see you again soon.